On this episode of the Big Insurance Connect, I did a deep dive with Amber on how the Canadian Med Store can help with prescription drug costs, especially with the upcoming 2025 Inflation Reduction Act changes. This is a conversation that you definitely cannot afford to miss. Let's check it out. Hey, Amber, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm great. Thank you for having me today.
Oh my gosh, I am so excited that you're here because you are the person we need to talk to. I'm not sure if a lot of people realize what is really getting ready to go down in the Medicare space for 2025, but this annual enrollment period, which starts October the 15th, is going to be one of the most crucial when it comes to prescription drug costs. And when I met you at the Miss Medicare conference, I was like, girl, you got to get on my YouTube.
Yes, I was so excited. I was like, let me know when and where, and I'll be there.
I am so glad that you're here because one, we want to shed some light. I want to be a resource to just really like make people aware of what's really going on. So just to give a little backstory, in 2025, the newest and the biggest changes that are going to be happening for Medicare Advantage and prescription drug plans. So even if you're on a supplement or a Medigap, you're going to need to look at your prescription drug plan in terms of cost. So the biggest thing is that there's an Inflation Reduction Act that happened to take away the donut hole. The donut hole was where your prescription costs exceeded how much your plan was covering. And then most people had a huge out-of-pocket cost for the remainder of the year. Well, that's going away. And there's a $2,000 deductible that's putting in place, which means that if you have costs under $2,000, then that's out of your pocket. So let's just talk about, from this perspective, if you are in that situation, how the Canadian Med Store can help you, because this particular company is put in place to help reduce your prescription costs. So that's Medicare 101 changes for 2025 in a nutshell. You're going to have to come to my seminars and you're going to have to follow me on my other episodes to get more information about that. But Amber, today, I want you to really touch on like how this could really solve someone's problem if they fall into that $2,000 deductible next year.
So yes, before the $2,000 deductible happened, the donut hole was where we were the resource for. If they were in the donut hole, they would come to us to be that resource until they're following AEP, where they could get reassessed with their agent.
Right.
Now moving forward for next year, if it's going to exceed that 2,000, that is great. But if you're going to be under the 2,000, or if drug coverages are going to change and your medication is not going to be on their formulary, but your doctor and you feel comfortable it's working with whatever you need, you can still get that brand medication through the Canadian Med Store. And it will not go towards that $2,000 out of pocket. It is truly cash. It is not going to go towards your deductible, but it also won't hurt you if you need to go that way as well.
So are you saying like you can decide, okay, if I get it through my Medicare plan or my drug plan, this is going to be my out-of-pocket cost. But if I get it from the Canadian Med Store, this is going to be my out-of-pocket cost. So kind of how they used to use like a drug discount card where they just pay for it directly. But in some cases, if you had Medicare, then it had to go through the plan because of that.
Correct. So it does not have to go through the plan if the client is choosing to still stay on that medication and it's not covered on the plan, or they don't have any plans available for that medication, right? Okay. Because there's only 2 drugs that are allowed that they have to have in each category. Mm-hmm. And so some of those drug coverages will change. The formularies will for sure change next year. Okay. So basically, if it's a drug that is on the formulary, then you really should have to go. You have to go through the drug company. I'm just asking. So no, it wouldn't be going. They don't have to. But if they're on multiple high cost medications, that's going to get them to that 2,000 out of pocket. Mm-hmm. They should probably stay with their insurance coverage plan. If they're only on like one high cost medication that's not going to get them to that 2,000 all year, then the Canadian Med Store may be an option for them, or if it's not covered on their formulary at all.
Right. So are there certain types of drugs that, like, is there some kind of exclusion? Some people are on some expensive heart medicines or some cancer treatment drugs or something like that, those very specialty drugs, are any of those excluded?
So controlled substances we do not use. So that's going to be a lot of your pain medications, ADHD medications, or anxiety. We're not going to be able to help with the controlled substances, but any of the high tiered cost medications, so we're talking Eliquis, Xarelto, Jardiance, Januvia, any inhaler like Advair, Spiriva, the Spiriva Respimat, Trelegy, Brio, any of those high cost medications, we're definitely going to be able to help with.
Right. I love that. I might need to keep you on speed dial this AEP. I swear, because, that is where I always, as an agent, feel a little helpless, right? Is because
you're backed up against a wall.
Right.
These are my only options for you.
Yes. And I mean, you put in all of their drugs, you put in all their doctors. You gotta, kind of like 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other, look at the big picture and what's going to be best for you. But to have an additional option so that, especially if someone is not getting extra help or they're in a situation where, they have, some chronic conditions, but they really don't qualify for assistance and they do have these costs out of pocket. And, another thing that's happening with this, changes for 2025, if they're really going to be in the excess of $2,000, it could possibly work to their advantage because of some of the other things they put in place, right? But
Correct.
If they're going to be under the $2,000 and they're really not used to covering those, especially if the formularies change, which we really will not know that until October 1st. So just so you know, right now, between now and October 1st, you're going to be hearing a lot about this based on just general information that we know so far. But when October 1st comes, we could really know the formularies. Are you expecting, a bigger, more people coming to your site because of that?
I think that the more people hear about us and we get our name out there, just for education purposes for themselves, I think that agents and clients both have been increasingly coming to us and just preparing themselves for this AEP and what that looks like. And again, like you said, we don't know exact things until October 1st, but we definitely can provide the information. And then, if things drastically change on that hard October 1st hit, then we'll be able to adjust.
Yeah. So just tell me a little bit of backstory. How did this come about? Or, what made you, connect with the Canadian Med Store? What's your story?
So I've been with the Canadian Med Store for 7 years. Okay. They've been in business for about 20. Okay. We have a U.S. pharmacy that we use, and we also have an international pharmacy that we use. Okay. I was working for one of our U.S. supplier pharmacies and had a baby, and I left that pharmacy and was kind of doing the mom thing for a little bit and was like, I think I want to go back to work, and reached out because I had a great relationship with the owner and was like, are you hiring? Can I come work for you guys?
Right. I feel like y'all going to start hiring even more people after this.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But no, it was, and we've always had a really great relationship, the owner and I, and I started out as just answering the phones and all of that. And then I got pregnant again and had another baby and said, I'm going to have to work remote. And he said, great, I'm going to have you become our agent contact person. And you are going to start reaching out to agents and telling them. And he started going on the road and doing all of the conferences. And now that third baby is in kindergarten and I'm able to do a little bit more things like this and go to Miss Medicare and travel
I love it.
More. So
I'm glad you had all them babies like that so we can meet,
Yes, exactly.
Because I have never heard of it. I'm not gonna lie. Until I met you at the conference, I did not know anything about this. So this is news to me, and I'm an agent, right? So whenever I learn something new and I know that it's going to help somebody, I want to tell everybody and be a resource. So I am so glad and grateful for that connection. And I'm glad that your journey got us to this point. You're doing a great job with, educating us. I want to know, if someone is really interested, I have a couple of clients right now at the top of my head that I know that they're worried about what's going down the pipeline. And, I'm telling them, don't worry, I got you. And so this helps me feel more confident that I do have an additional resource for them. But like, if someone right now wants to get more information about this, what's the best thing for them to do?
So you can go to our website. You can fill out the contact form. If you're an agent watching, there is a portion that you can click and fill out information as an agent.
Okay.
If you are a customer or a client that wants more information on pricing, because there is no pricing on our website, we are a little old school. We like the customer service. We like that hand-holding experience that a lot of people are not used to this day and age. Mm-hmm. They need that. They need that security. There's so much spam and everything else coming at them. And then them hearing the word Canada, they put the brakes on real quick. And they're like, wait, what?
Like, back up a second. So even though it's the Canadian med store, it works for the United States.
Yes. So the owner of the company, Bill Hebscher, his brother was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. What? And they were having a hard time affording their anti-rejection medications, as well as even sourcing the medications. Mm-hmm. So Bill did some research about 20 years ago and found that Canada was able to get him his brother's medication at a much lower price than even with his good health insurance that they had. And he was like, wait, if we have good insurance and we're having a hard time either sourcing or affording this medication, what are people that have not so good coverage doing, or have no coverage at all and need these higher cost medications? And we built the relationships with the international pharmacies, and that's kind of how we got started as far as getting the light bulb going off.
That's amazing. So in terms of an agent, they would be contacting you just so that if we have a client that needs help, or you're just saying direct clients to you? I mean, how does that work?
So we have an agent referral program.
Okay.
So the agent can get set up with us in our system, start referring clients to us. We'll attach the agent to the client.
Okay. So it's really an incentive from the agent's perspective to send them to the Canadian med store, because firsthand we know like the client's needs. All right. So on the client side, what will they need to get some type of pre-authorization or anything like that, or they don't because it's not covered under the formulary, so it doesn't matter?
It doesn't matter. We do need a prescription to place the order, so their doctor can fax that directly to us, or if they have a hard copy of the prescription, they can take a picture and email that to me.
Wow. And is this mostly like, 90-day supplies, or?
So we do 90-day supplies, just because it is about a 3 to 4 week delivery time.
Okay.
So we want to make sure that, one, the client has enough medication on hand and is aware of the delivery times.
Gotcha.
And that way, once we get the prescription, they're not going to run out.
Right. I love this. I'm so glad that we met. I did not know anything about this. This sounds like a great solution, a win-win for everyone, because see, from an agent's perspective, when you're working with someone, you can only do so much in certain situations, but we always try to find the best solution, right? And then from the client's perspective, if I didn't know, I'm sure that a lot of people didn't know. So this is a great way to get the word out in terms of, additional resources. And then you can really make a really informed decision when the time comes and all of the new plan information is released after October 1st. And so if anyone is really interested in taking advantage or just getting more information about what the Canadian Med Store has to offer, that web address is scrolling down at the bottom here on the screen. And that's the best way to get in contact with someone, as far as I was told by Amber, because they do contact forms. So you have to go on there and actually fill out information if you're a client or if you're an agent and you're interested in promoting this. Give us anything else you want to, really like touch on that we didn't.
Well, I was just going to say that so I'm an agent concierge. That's what we like to call it. And so we have the whole team of agent concierge that will be responding to those online inquiries.
Right. I love that. Man, this is amazing. Thank you so much for just really being a resource, even shedding some light on this. I hope that, this information gets out and spreads like wildfire, because I know that prescription drugs, is a hot topic always, and specifically this year it's going to be even more so. So I thank you so much for being with us today, Amber. I love you and I mean it, y'all. Until the next time. If you enjoyed this episode, do me a big favor. Please like, share, and subscribe to the #1 insurance resource that has you covered from the womb to the tomb for all things health and wealth. Until the next time, I love you and I mean it.